Our girl is destitute.
What conspiracy theory do you have?
You're the Feyre.
I'm Feyre. He hates Tamlin. He's also a bit of a petty bitch.
And yet, she decides, let me just shoot my shot and see it. I'm like, girl. Welcome, everyone, to the least spicy chapter of the entire series. I love how the spoiler-free episode, I was like, we have a spice landing.
Yeah.
In this one, I'm like, least spicy.
Well, least spicy of the spicy scenes.
Yes. Like I said in the spoiler-free episode, there is something to the cocktease of it, right? To
Yeah.
put it into blunt terms. At the same time, the fucking hewn city scene in Mist and Fury where he almost finger bangs her but doesn't is 10 times hotter than this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like this is I don't want to say, I feel like disappointing is like a strong word.
Yeah.
You know, because in the realm of what is happening in the book and all the things, and like I think you brought up a really good thing in the spoiler free section of how like it works, the shortness of this sex scene works really well from like a plot point perspective of just like
Yes.
Sarah, and kind of proves that Sarah doesn't do sex just to like have sex in there. Like
No.
the sex and the length of the sex scenes very much have a purpose. And so
Yeah.
I think that was like a really good thing to point out in that episode. And so within this realm of what is happening and everything, like it would have probably felt maybe a little forced if it had been this like really extravagant 3 to 4 page sex scene, you know?
If it was a chapter 55 of Mist and Fury.
Exactly. Like it would have felt really strained. And, you know, honestly, when you look at this scene from a reread mindset, it makes a ton of sense because this is not her person. This is her being Feyre. This is not Feyre's person. And so it kind of shows that like Sarah's like saving that experience for when it's really her person, you know? So
from a reread standpoint, I was actually so grateful because I think if it had been a much more detailed, longer scene, I might have puked.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
I would be like, God,
couldn't do
no.
it. Well, because we never get a scene like that with Tamlin. Like we never get, and in fact, I even remember the first time I read this scene and then the first time I read like Mist and Fury, because there's some sex scenes between them in the beginning. I felt very like kind of frustrated of like, why is this writer doing this to us? Like, why are we not getting the big moment? And then, you know, everything goes down between her and Tam and you're kind of like, oh, okay. And then chapter 55 and you're like, oh my God. Holy. Well, and I guess even before that, as you said, is the hewn city scene. And it's just like, oh, this is so much spicier than what we ever did before. I mean, I think we even get the like kind of one bed in the inn moment too before this as well. So
and that's even spicier.
And it's really spicy. So I mean, it's very purposeful with Sarah, which I really, really appreciate because she is using sex to move the plot along. It's not a break from the plot. It's like it continues it forward. And so yeah, you know, so obviously guys, right, we're talking about chapter 27.
Yes.
You know, we just came from the scene with Rhys where he, you know, comes in, spouts some shit and realizes Feyre's there. And then as we know from kind of going forward and reading the Mist and Fury chapter, you know, we know that Rhys is doing this because he is afraid for Feyre's life and he wants her out of there. So he is very, very purposefully scary and a dick.
And then we get some actual dick.
So we get some actual dick. But yeah, so, you know, that's kind of where we came from, right? Just to sort of like circle us back in together what's happening. And yeah, dude, everything that leads up to the sex scene is just the wildest amount of foreshadowing. It's like painful.
No, and like, and I still stand by this from a reread standpoint of like, there is something a little hot, kind of like, you know, I think we talked about this in the past about like jealousy, right?
Yeah.
Of like, in a book,
Yes.
you know,
In a book.
it is like really hot when like the male lead character is like jealous,
Yeah.
right? Because we know it's a book, but like in reality, that shit's not
So
really
stupid.
hot. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just at the bare minimum annoying, if
Yeah.
not like really problematic sometimes. Same thing here, where like Feyre is up in her room. She's listening to Tamlin just like tear, like literally breaking furniture,
Dude.
which is like really fucking scary. And like,
Yeah.
I get like, here's, and this is actually what I wanted, I couldn't wait to talk about in this episode of like, I definitely think the bulk of his anger and rage is coming from the fact that Rhys, who we know he hates, like with a fiery passion, just threatened Feyre.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And through Rhys, ostensibly, Amarantha
Yeah.
also basically threatened Feyre.
Yeah.
Or is a threat to Feyre, I
Yes.
guess. So I think the bulk of his rage is coming from he loves Feyre, he's scared for her. On the other hand, I think there's a fraction at least of this rage comes from the fact that he kind of caused this.
Yeah.
And I think there is this self-loathing
Yep.
going on. And he knows like, yeah, she would not be in danger if it weren't for him.
Yep.
It makes this scene darker. And yeah, like the foreshadowing, like you said, of like thinking about how we see a very similar situation play out in Mist and Fury is just so, it goes to the idea that Tamlin is an abuser.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, there are times where we see Rhys get really angry about when Feyre is threatened or anyone he loves is threatened, but we don't, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we ever see him come even close. Like he has more of the calm, like rage.
Yeah, like his anger tends to be a kind of like scary silence, which is pretty terrifying. I think the only time we've ever, I'm trying to think, like I don't think we ever get like a crash out like this where he's like actively like destroying things.
Right.
I'm trying to think of when, you know, when we kind of hear about when Rhys realized that Feyre's pregnancy might do something to her. I think Cassian says something of where like they go out and like they kind of like beat the shit out of each other. I think actually, I think that's the only style of like violence we really see from Rhys when he's mad. And it's basically when Cassian is like, come on,
beat me up, brother.
Let's beat the shit out of me. I know you need it, you know.
But
and
see, that's a healthy form
so
of it,
much
right?
healthier.
Like Cassian is the one who, from what you said, it sounds like he initiated it. He's like, hey, I get you need to get some shit out. Take it out on me, right?
Yeah.
Also, they're warriors, so it's like it's also kind of training in a way. Like,
yeah,
it's I think we've all, regardless of gender, right? I think we have all had moments in our lives where we like just want to like punch a wall or like
totally,
you know, enact some kind of like violent thing. But the difference is like having those thoughts is not bad. The difference is if you take action on it or not,
it's
right?
how you take action on it, right?
And how,
it's like it's because again, like there is, as you already said, like there is a level of this with Tamlin that I completely understand. I get this rage. He at this point in the situation doesn't have control. I mean, I have a little frustration because I do think if he just had grabbed Feyre and been like, I love you, she probably would have just set it back, right? Yes. Yeah, like the frustration of him like whispering this to her later is just like, bro. Because I did like a forward sort of look up of just trying to be reminded of what exactly were the terms of the whole curse and everything. And it's really important that she says, I love you to him. That's a big part of the curse. I don't think it's that she has to say it first. I think it's just she has to say it and it has to be true.
God, that makes me even madder.
Oh yeah, it's so annoying because you're just like, and that's what makes this whole back in this like this whole collection of chapters like so frustrating because it's just like they were like a breath away. So like for me, it's frustrating because Tamlin feels like he doesn't have any control I like how I'm actually like going back on what I was about to say. I was about to be like, I get it. There's not a lot of control. It's like very annoying. I get the anger, but now I'm a little like,
Yeah.
actually, bro, you still have control over this scenario. If you
Yep.
just grabbed her and said, I love you, and then just kind of let it be, guaranteed
Yeah.
next morning, baby girl's going to be like, I love you. Like, I
Yeah.
guarantee it's going to come out. And so I like, it actually is. I'm sitting here more and being like, dude, you just waited too long to do everything, which is basically
Yeah.
just a summary of this whole curse scenario with Tamlin. You just waited too long to do a
Completely.
lot of stuff.
Although, okay, I can't believe this is, I think, the second time today I'm going to devil's advocate
Ooh,
you.
gavel,
I
gavel.
know, shocker. Oh God, I even hate myself for saying it too. I kind of get why he doesn't
Why he doesn't tell her he loves
say,
her?
yeah, until he thinks she's asleep. Because remember, he's afraid that if they break the curse, Amarantha will still kill Feyre.
Yeah.
So it is a tricky scenario, right? Especially because he has no idea Rhys is actually like not on the side of Amarantha.
Yeah.
Like he's playing her. But like, okay, here's what he could have done. He could have gone with her if like he was truly, truly worried about all this, right? He could have gone with her to the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell her, I love you. She's gonna say it back and then push her across that wall so she's safe, and then go kill Amarantha,
Yeah.
and then bring her back when they're all done.
Yeah.
Like there's like something that looked like that, right?
Yeah.
Like he could have found a way.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's like the overall like motto of like of Tamlin for this, of like, he could have found a way, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I agree. I feel like he probably could have figured something out. But yeah, like this crash out in the beginning of the chapter is just, it's so hard from like a reread standpoint. Like you remember when he shreds the dining room again. This is not the only time the dining
Yes.
room gets shredded apart, right? Like
No.
we see this happen again.
Those poor servants of his
Yeah.
having to put it together twice
Dear
within a year.
God, seriously.
Yeah.
And just like, all these kind of moments of rage that come out in Mist and Fury. And, one or two of them caused by Feyre kind of like trying to get it to happen, but
Yeah.
still utterly terrifying and like should not happen. And I just like, this chapter is just such a wild level of foreshadowing. And like, forgive me, I'm going to jump around a lot, but like this shattering of the downstairs. All right, we're getting the beginnings of like the true level of anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he talks about sending her home, and this whole like honestly guys, change the sentence of sending her home to let me get out of the house. And it's literally the exact same thing on 244 when she was like, just let me. And he's like, there's no debate. Don't you understand? Rhys was the start of it. Do you want to be here when the adder returns? Do you want to know what kind of creatures the adder answers to? Things like the bog and worse. And she's like, let me help. And he's like, no. And it's just that section right there is just, they have this exact same conversation later. And what's so like fascinating to me is it's like this whole like there's no debate, like he is threatening her with these scary ideas to keep her in this safe space. Like, I just need you to trust me wholeheartedly. I need you to fully just blindly trust me, so that way I can keep you safe and we can make this happen. And so like this is just it's so wild, like rereading this portion, because you're just like, oh my God, this is literally Mist and Fury. This is like just change the phrase of going home to let me out. And it's like the exact same conversation. And it's just, and then also just the blind trust that she then starts kind of like training herself into, like when he does the final, like, I'm sending you away because it makes me sick thinking about you in their hands. Again, it's all about him.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about how he's feeling. It has nothing to do with how Feyre is feeling.
Nope.
And the silence falls and all this stuff. And there's this quote that it says, his words echoed through me, melting my anger, turning everything inside me watery and frail. And that's when the conversation shifts, right? That's when she
Yeah.
starts being like, how long do I have to be gone? That sentence to me is so scary. Like I literally wrote, and this is how ACOMAF happens. It's
Mhm.
this she's already starting to get into this place of kind of like excusing his
Yep.
anger blowouts to just,
Mhm.
oh, he just loves me so much
Yeah.
that I'm just going to kind of let him sort of take over and
I'm gonna remain his fragile little
I'm
doll
going to
that
be
he can put
this
up on his shelf.
exactly. I'm going to be this, like she said, like watery and frail. Like she's going to be this kind of sensitive little thing.
Yeah.
And it's so wild because the first time you read this, it's like you feel a little bit of problematicness, but like that
Yeah.
sentence feels so different the first time you read it. Of this kind of
Yes.
like, oh, she's just so in love and she knows he loves her so much. And she just
Yeah.
knows she can't really argue with him on this. But then with the reread headspace, you're just like, oh, baby girl, you are continuing to descend down into this place. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's really brutal. And but it also it's just this whole beginning portion before they have sex is just like, well, here's the foreshadowing of Mist and Fury.
Oh, well, and, like, I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't even realize how many parallels there were to ACOMAF in this scene, and it's a lot, and, at first, like, my first gut instinct was, like, the main difference is that, like, in Thorns and Roses, she's still human, right? Like,
Yeah.
she is actually fragile compared,
Yes,
but
absolutely. Yeah.
here's what I'll say, though, is because both instances, right, whether in this book or ACOMAF, they are scenes about control,
Yeah.
right? But in different ways.
Yeah.
Because if Tamlin broke the curse, which at this point he knows he can do,
Mhm.
he knows. And also, like, actually, real quick before I dive into this, do we even know exactly what would happen? Like, when if she were to say, I love you, right? Like, would Amarantha even feel,
I
would
I
she know it was broken?
I
We don't know.
I don't well, because I don't know because, like, the question is, like, is the curse also attached to the fact that that Amarantha has, like, taken everyone's powers? Like, would people's powers return back to them? Or is it like a deal
Yeah.
she's made where, like, if you break
Right.
this curse on your heart, I
Right.
will give people back their powers? You know what I
Well,
mean?
I
Like,
mean, we're
what
gonna
is
find out. Yeah, we're gonna find out in a few chapters because
yeah,
Alice is gonna explain everything. But from what I remember, again, the curse is really only on the spring court. So presumably their masks would fall off, right? Or they could take them off.
right.
Tamlin would get his power back, but I don't think anyone else under the mountain, I don't think anything would happen to them. Amarantha might feel something inside her. I don't think it's like a bargain where she has a tattoo or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't like it's not like a tattoo would disappear. So we don't basically what I'm getting to is we don't know for sure. And I get he also doesn't know, so it's kind of a risk, but we don't know if the second Feyre says I love you, if Amarantha would even know the curse is broken,
Yeah.
right? Like she could not. All is to say though, like the second that Feyre breaks that curse, Tamlin could tell her everything,
Yeah.
right? He could say, "Cool, curse is broken. Let me give you the lowdown and catch her up to speed so she can make a choice,
Yeah.
right? She can choose to either go home and not fight this war that is really not hers, or she can choose to stay and fight."
Yep.
But Tamlin wants to control the narrative.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give her that choice. Just like in ACOMAF, when she is High Fae, and one of the most powerful High Fae Prithian has ever seen. But guess what? She doesn't know because he won't let her fucking practice her powers. Like, because remember, the whole thing is like, he's like, no, you can't practice your powers because, like, then the other High Lord's gonna know. Well, he doesn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
No one knows,
Yeah.
right? But he's telling her this to control the narrative, right? And I think that's like Tamlin like if you were to boil Tamlin down to like two words, it would be control issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he really has a problem with it. And he has the whole like Prince Charming syndrome
Yeah.
thing of like he thinks he can be this white knight who comes in, rescues the maiden, the helpless little maiden, and they'll live happily ever after together. And I think that he just doesn't want to accept the fact that Feyre is not a helpless maiden.
Yep.
She is far from that.
Yep.
And it's why, I mean, it's why I love the series, is like Sarah plays with, this amazing, you know, uh structure really of
Yeah.
like the fairy tale,
Yeah.
where that normally happens, and goes, nope, we're doing something totally different. And
Yeah.
in a way that, like, I know fairy tales have, there's a history of them being, rewritten and played with and whatnot, but I really like the way she does it. And yeah, just like you said, this parallel between both books and the foreshadowing is it's so just eerie and
Dude.
really gross the second time you read it. And it makes like I didn't hate the sex scene,
Yeah, no,
but
I
it
didn't either.
does, yeah, but it makes it like,
It paints it.
definitely wasn't, yeah, it paints it. It wasn't as fun reading the second time. And not just because of like the lack of spice, but because she's actively being lied to.
Yeah. Which, again, the lie is like, it's a bit of a,
He can't.
he
But
can't,
but at this
but
point he could.
yeah, well, and I think this also plays into a little bit of like, I think Tamlin's like insecurity a little bit,
Yeah.
is that,
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why he's afraid that she doesn't love him like he loves her. Right? Like that
Yeah.
to me is the only reasoning as to why Tamlin wouldn't feel confident in like telling her this like right
Mhm.
now, because he maybe feels like she wouldn't say it, and then that's going to kind of ruin their like last moments together. That's the only thing I can think
Yeah.
of as to why he wouldn't
I
say,
think
or
there's
that he's afraid that if she does say it, that Amaranth is going to somehow know, and that,
well, I think there's a third option. I think, and I do think it is partially like he is afraid she won't say it back. I think that's like half of it. I think and Amarantha.
yeah.
I think the third thing though is I think he's kind of afraid to break the curse, because once that curse is broken, she's going to find out the real story behind everything. And then it's going to be a question of like, oh, does she really love him, or did she fall in love with this version of him that isn't really him,
Hmm.
and hate him for all the stuff that he kept from her,
Yeah.
which, like, we know, I mean, we've read the book. She doesn't hold that against him. She knows it's a
No,
curse. She
yeah.
knows,
Yeah.
like, whatnot. Although now I'm trying to remember, like, I do feel, maybe I'm wrong, in ACOMAF, she might actually go through a whole like come to Jesus moment of like, oh yeah, no, he really did keep some shit from me that he could at least try to convey, or like could have broken the curse earlier or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like she does have a moment like that.
well, like I actually, yeah, I actually feel, I agree. I feel like she has a moment where she's kind of like, why did you send me away? Like, why didn't you just
Yeah.
say this earlier? And I
Yeah.
actually think she has like a personal work through during one of the times she's with Rhys, like
Mm,
before. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I kind of, because
yeah.
I'm getting an inkling that like happens too, because I think what is really interesting about how Sarah wrote all of this is that Feyre is kind of constantly working through her relationship that happened with Tamlin throughout
Yeah.
the series, right? Like Frost and Starlight, she's like really, she's still kind of thinking about a lot of that stuff. And, so
Yeah.
I love that Sarah does that, because it's so real. Like this is not
Oh
as,
yeah.
you would not just forget and move on with this happy person. Like you would still
No.
have some of these residuals feelings of like looking back at the relationship, and like probably inevitably feeling how we all felt about ourselves after how we felt about Tamlin in this book, of just like, oh
Yes.
shit, like, wow, I feel a little silly. I feel like I got a little hoodwinked, and
Yeah.
like, so, there's, and I love that Sarah has her kind of like go through like this whole, process. Like the minute he says, like, you need to leave, oh my God, she just immediately starts blaming it on herself.
Oh, she goes through like the stages of grief really fucking rapidly in
Yeah.
these
And
moments.
it's really rough, because so much of this chapter, it just feels like, especially from, well, purely from a reread standpoint, it
Yeah.
feels like you are reading these kind of textbook responses of an abuser and their victim.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Of like her just being like, what did I do? Like, did I do something wrong? And then he's like, you are perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well then why do I need to leave? And how the fact that her just wanting information enrages him. Like he gets so pissed off of like, and that's what leads him to the moment of, there's no debate. Did you not see what was happening? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, and all of that anger comes from her just wanting a fucking answer.
Oh, you know what moment truly enraged me?
Yeah.
Was on page 2, because like, yeah, he's expecting her to like not ask questions and just accept the answer she is given.
Yeah, because she's been that way the whole time, Tamlin. What the fuck?
Right, like, come on. But then on page 244, he says, "Didn't you read between the lines today?" Which I'm like, what? Like, how the fuck is she supposed to read between those lines in a world that she just came into, learning just in general what Prithian is like, having no idea about Under the Mountain, that the blight isn't a blight, that it's a curse. Like, how?
Go off, queen.
Like,
go the fuck off. Yes. Like, oh my God.
I feel like I need to get my pitchfork and just be like, ugh.
Seriously. And like, those for just our podcast listeners, I'm over here like waving a like church hand of like, sing it. Like, cause yeah, dude, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, didn't you read between, dude, to be able to read between the lines of a situation, you have to understand everything that's going on.
Yeah, you have to understand the lines that are already there.
Yes, baby girl is trying to understand the lines right now, okay?
And we know she can't read, so. Sorry, it was sitting right there. I had to.
Low-hanging fucking fruit, Ariel.
I know.
Jesus Christ. No, it's okay. The silver platter was there. You're welcome. But
thank you.
But like still, like she's still trying to understand the words that are even coming out of anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
How in God's name is she gonna decode something if she doesn't even understand like it's so infuriating. It's like, to me, that's one of the first like, oh, asshole Tamlin has entered the chat. Like, hello.
Truly.
Are you kidding? And she's like, and I love how like when he says that, her immediate thought is like, I hadn't.
Yeah.
In the book, he's like, didn't you read between the lines today? And it just goes into her brain. It goes, I hadn't.
Yeah.
But I lifted my chin and crossed my arms. So you're sending me away because I'm useless in a fight. Like, it's going just like, it's so painful because it's like the fact that she's not even immediately enraged by that statement from him of just like, how could I read between the lines, bro? I don't understand anything that's going on. She immediately slips into like, okay, clearly he's talking about the fact that like there's something wrong with me. Like I can't be here because
And I started picking up on this like way earlier in the book. And I feel like this is like really like through a reread lens, like it's really picking up speed here, is the amount of times this poor woman says, I'm useless.
Yeah.
Like he makes her feel so fucking useless, which is, I mean, that's got to be hard in general, but it has to be especially hard when you're someone who prior to this for most of your life was the most useful person in your family. You were the reason they were able to survive, right? And to go from that to like feeling useless and dumb and just like I should be picking up on stuff and like literally the guy I love is telling me I should have read between the lines, so clearly I'm the stupid one, right? Like is enraging. That it's enraging on itself.
Yeah.
But it's double enraging when you remember the fact that when she finally gets with Rhys, not only does he actually love her in a healthy way, he truly sees her as a useful partner in terms of ruling the night court. He's like, yes, you can be the high lady. Of course. Like, that's not even a fucking question. Because you are so good at caring and you're smart and you know how to defend the people you love. Like, you are the most useful person.
Yeah.
And so you get like, oh man, I'm getting fucking heated in
Yeah,
this
I can
episode
tell. I
'cause
love
it's
it. I
just like,
love it.
like this is where I feel like we did so good, like up until recently with like the seeing the different
Yeah,
sides of Tamlin.
absolutely.
But I think we've
This
talked about this in
yeah.
the past. Like, there's a certain point where you cannot
You can't do it. Yeah,
excuse.
there's no more excuses. Like,
Yeah,
and again, I mean, I think the only sort of like gavel gavel, devil's
yeah,
advocate moment for this really is that it's like we are still in the complicated zone where Feyre is still a human at this point. And so
yeah.
there is a level of understanding the fear that he has. But I think what we're
Yes.
not really excusing is the level of anger that he gets to.
Yeah.
And then this sort of like gaslighting her into being this I just need you to just listen to me and just do what I'm telling you to do kind of space.
Yeah.
That is just so I don't really think there's an excuse really. I mean, you can find one. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, it's because he's so
Yeah.
terrified for her life, blah, 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 blah. But it's so frustrating. And like I think we did a good job in the spoiler-free portion of still kind of being like, but it's frustrating because if he was just honest with her, some of this would probably be solved. And of course, spoiler-free, where we don't know about the curse yet and whatever.
Right.
But it's just like what's really interesting about what you brought up about Rhys is one of the things I thought of how the minute that like he saves her from the wedding.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that first time I think he just lets her like eat and sleep and hang out and whatever.
Yeah.
But then like the second time she comes or whatever, very early on in their
Yes.
little, you know, week-long camps together, right?
Yeah.
He forces her to learn how to read.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then as we continue on in their relationship, he very quickly is quote unquote using her in the sense of using her potential new abilities, using her potential
Yes.
power to accomplish certain things for his court and for his people, putting
Yeah.
her in a place of usefulness. So
Yes.
even before they fall in love and he and she's high lady and all this stuff, Rhys is all I mean, yeah, by that point we find out later like that Rhys is already like madly in love with her by this point.
Right.
But from that first read, like once we get to that first like read of that portion, you're gonna like see how it's just he so immediately is giving her purpose because
Yes.
he trusts in her ability and I think is her ferocity. She's
Yes.
pretty ferocious. And I think even in this chapter, she's like, even if the blight spread and fucking ripped shit apart, I would come back. Like in her head, this is what she's saying. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, and
Yeah.
it's this idea of Tamlin is so consumed by his fear for her safety
Yep.
that he's not even beginning to think about what she can accomplish. Her
Right.
she also is as concerned about his safety,
Yes.
about him staying alive. So what the
Yep.
fuck? That's not fair. She now has to
No.
go and just like cross her fingers like,
She
bro.
has to suffer. Like, yeah, it's infuriating and just I'm like kind of losing words at this
Yeah, yeah,
point
yeah, yeah.
because like I don't think I even realized how infuriated it made me. I mean, it's to the point where like it's funny because I can't remember if you and I talked about this off pod or on pod, but like we were wondering like why is this book called A Court of Thorns and Roses? And it's because of the line here. He says like I love you, thorns and all. We were like, where does that even like? Why does he say that?
Yeah.
And
This thorn part. Yeah.
so she says on page 245, she's asking like I won't have to go home forever, right? And he doesn't respond. Kind of his silence makes her realize like yes, she kind of has to go home forever. And she says, I suppose it'll be easier if I'm gone. Who wants someone around who's so covered in thorns? And then he asks thorns, and she says thorny, prickly, sour, contrary. The fact that, like, this man has gaslit this super strong, capable survivor of a woman
Yeah.
into thinking she's thorny?
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, surprise. Gavel, gavel.
Yeah. There you go.
she's a bit prickly.
Sure.
But in a very like
understandable way.
in the way, I actually think this is going to ignite you a little bit.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Do it.
Kind of in the way that like a badass broad in the business world would be called a bitch.
Corinne, I was thinking basically the same fucking thing. Like, if this were today, she'd be called a bitch. If this were like the fucking Salem in the 1600s, she'd be called a witch. Like, that is exactly it. Is in it. It's why it pissed. Like, you're right. It fucking ignited me. It's why it pisses me off so much. Feyre was that little girl who was probably called bossy, right? Like, it. Like, that's what it is. And it fucking, I can't even talk. Like, insecure men like Tamlin see that as just like, I gotta tame her. I gotta fucking tame her. I gotta lie to her to tame her, right? Whereas Rhys is like,
go off, queen.
Go off, queen. Let's give this bitch some missions to go on. And like, look, I'm not gonna get too into it, but like, I know parts of the fandom have problems with some of the tasks that Rhys has Feyre do.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever. Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna we'll get into more detail once we actually get to ACOMAF. But here's what I will say: that she did it fully consenting. There were several tasks, including the hewn city, and I want to really make that clear that he gave her an out, says, you really don't have to do this. And she said, no, I want to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, she insisted
Yeah.
on doing the hewn city, right? Knowing full and well what she was getting into. This man gave her what she was craving and what she was meant for.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Tamlin did the opposite.
Yeah.
He just wanted a little wifey to stay at home with her paints.
Yeah.
Which, again, there are some women. This is why, I mean, this is where the whole Elaine Tamlin theory comes from, right? Like, Elaine is that girl. And it's great because she wants that.
Exactly.
That is who she is.
We're not saying that that is a bad way to be. Like, if that's who you are, then also go off, queen. Like, we are not debating what kind of lifestyle is better or not. That's not the discussion. No. It's the fact that Feyre is not built for it.
Exactly.
Honestly, she's not built that way before Under the Mountain. We talk all the time about how she changes a lot about after Under the Mountain, right?
Yep.
I really think if Under the Mountain never happened and we stayed in this kind of fun, like summertime or I mean, like this fun, like summer love vibe.
Yes.
I think eventually Feyre would get bored with just painting every day and just doing that. I think that she would eventually ask, like, even before Under the Mountain, I think eventually she'd be like, cool, can I go on patrol? Can I go like, or can I at least go like take care of some of the Spring Court people? Can I like, she would have wanted so much more than just being a retiree, right? Like she was kind of in her like healing era.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's what's problematic is Tamlin falls in love with the healing, I'm just resting and kind of getting myself back together or to a place that I've never gotten to be before. Right. And he falls in love with that portion of her.
And assumes that's who she is.
And it's not who she is. So like, we are not in any way saying that if you are that person, that's bad. It's just that if you are that person, then you should be with someone who wants you to do that. You know what I mean? Yes. Like we're just saying that Tamlin does not understand, and Rhys pretty immediately understands who Feyre is and her just style of like navigating the world. Because like, one of the things I love about Feyre is like when she's like in like full like form, like she's a sassy broad. Like, you know, Nesta's still her older sister. You know what I'm saying? Like exactly. There's a little bit of the vibe in all of the Archeron sisters. And it's like, and you know, I love when she's like kind of first starting to get kind of closer to the inner circle. Like there's a lot of sass that starts coming out. And there's a lot of like, cause that's just who she is. So that's the other level of where like, I think the idea of this like prickliness, you know, it kind of like comes from. But I think the point that you're kind of making is like, it's just so extra sad that she says this about herself.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually think some of this does stem from even before she came to Tamlin, to be perfectly honest.
Certainly.
I think some
Yes.
of it came from, like, it kind of sounds like she was always the little tomboy, sort of.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
she was always kind of, the one coming home dirty. And like she was
Yeah.
always just kind of that one. And so I think she was always sort of made to feel like she was just not the easiest to like be around. But like it feels like she's been getting out of this mentality
Yeah.
in the past couple chapters. And the
Yeah.
minute he's like, I want to send you home, she's just like, oh yeah, no, yeah. She immediately starts descending back into this insecure place, back into this place of feeling like a burden, back into this place of being useless. And
Yeah.
he's not really saying stuff that's really helping, right?
No.
Like this situation would look super different. Yes, we know he can't say anything about the curse, but it's
Yeah.
like if he was kind of like, this has nothing to do with like with you not being able to accomplish something. This is purely that at the end of the day, I fear for your human life.
Yep.
And there's a level of power here that I'm not 100% sure that I can keep you safe from. And I don't think you would be able to purely because you're a human or like, and then to say, to be able like to say more stuff of like, I know you can fight, but I don't know if it will be enough. Like, I know, like if he were to be validating all these things, this would, you and I'd be having a very different conversation right now. But
So
it's the fact
different.
that like, when she's like, what I do wrong, he's just like, you're perfect. Like, that's not like,
It's not helpful.
that's not helpful. And then actually, it's actually more frustrating that when he does say I love you, that he says thorns and all.
Here's the real problem.
Lay it on me.
It's that she is made to think that thorns on a rose are a bad thing. That's what it is. Because here's the thing.
Oh my God.
Feyre,
Ariel.
right? Right?
God, you're so smart. You're
Thank
such
you.
a
It's not.
smart lady.
Feyre is actually a rose if you think about it. Because,
Okay.
like, deep down, she just has this beautiful, heartfelt, caring soul, right? Like, it is, like, she is, like, probably the most caring person in the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she has a good sense of humor. She's giving. Like, it's all, can name a million things,
She's
right?
full of color.
She's
She's
full of
full of,
color.
yeah.
But to protect that, right? You need some thorns.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I don't know if this analogy will work quite well, what I'm imagining, but like it's the difference between being nice and being kind, right?
Yes.
Nice people are, and not everyone, I'm generalizing here,
Yes.
but like you can be nice and still, like, there are plenty of people who are nice and are assholes.
Yes.
Right? They'll be nice to your face, but then behind your back, or like, it reminds me of the classic Southern, like, bless your heart.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that is, the words are nice,
Yep.
but the meaning behind it is not nice,
Yep.
right? And if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kind people, sometimes they gotta be a little prickly,
Yeah.
to be kind, right? Sometimes the kind truth to tell someone isn't gonna sound nice, but it's what that person needs to hear, and it's what's best for them.
Yeah.
Right? I feel it's like that's the thorns
Mm.
kind of scenario here, is like, if Feyre didn't have any thorns, she wouldn't be able to be the badass that she is.
Yeah.
Like, she wouldn't have stood up to all the fucking high lords
Yeah.
in that meeting in ACOTAR. Like, there's so many things we wouldn't get of Feyre that, like, we do, what the reason why we love her,
Yeah.
right? So what pisses me off is not that she says she is thorny, right? It's that Tamlin has caused her to believe that thorniness is bad.
Yeah.
And then he then goes on, to your point, at the very end of this chapter, to say I love you when she thinks she's asleep, and then says thorns and all. Like, because like that connotation, like him saying thorns and all, is basically saying, yeah, I like even your bad shit.
I like you in spite of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just him doing it when he thinks she's asleep.
Oh my God, damn one, dude.
Ugh. As someone who has been in a almost identical scenario, like, it's truly, I think, one of the most selfish things he does in this book. Because it's like, he does it purely for himself.
Yeah.
And, like, yes, he thinks, well, according to Feyre, he thinks she's asleep. But also, if you think about it, that Fae hearing,
Yeah.
her breathing is probably different because she's awake, right?
Yeah.
Like, his Fae senses very well might sense that she's actually awake.
Yeah. Well, I actually had like an interesting moment where I wondered if he put her to sleep. There's this whole moment, right, of where like he's leaving the room and she's like,
Yeah.
where are you going? And he's like, if I stay, we're not going to get any sleep. And she's like, I'll
Right.
keep my hands to myself,
Right.
And everyone knows it's a lie. And they kind of cuddle up and it says, he idly stroked my hair. I didn't want to sleep, didn't want to lose a minute with him. But an immense exhaustion was pulling me away from consciousness until all I knew was the touch of his fingers in my hair and the sounds of his breathing. I mean, I don't know if
It's
that's a thing he
possible.
can do. Like, I'm
Yeah.
still very unclear on like what all the powers are that he has. But like reading it this time, I was kind of like, did he maybe
I mean, I'm sure you can glamour someone to sleep.
put her to
Like,
sleep? Because like, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's like a wildly like problematic moment. Like he does want her to, like, there's this very long journey and like,
yeah.
and he does kind of, but it also could be another moment of Tamlin making decisions for her. And it could be that like that's why he thinks she's asleep. Like I'm a little, I'm a little back and like I'm not sure where I land on if he like actually knows if she's like awake or not. But yeah, him doing this is so unbelievably annoying, especially from a reread standpoint, because you're like, brother, pretty sure if when he gathered her in his arms right before this, before she fell asleep, if he had said, I love you, baby girl would have said it back.
Absolutely.
And so it's just like, dude, like now I do really want to know if like it's important that she says it first.
Yeah.
Which like we'll get to. I don't think so. Honestly,
I don't think
I don't think it actually like matters. It just like the
just
curse
has to
will
say
know
it.
if it's like real or not,
Right. Well, you know what I realized? Because like to say it the night before, not even the night, a few hours
before she's leaving.
Before she's leaving, he hit it and quit it. He hit it and fucking quit it. Like,
well, in gavel, in Tamlin's defense,
yes,
he did not plan on this happening. Baby girl Feyre literally like, which like, do we get into this like a little bit? I don't think there's a wild amount to talk about in this sex scene, really.
Oh, the sex scene.
But like, I do think the thing I love the most about this sex scene is like how many times, and I said it in the spoiler free section, but I will say it again because consent is not something to fuck around with.
Nope.
I love how many, like that is the thing I will give Tamlin. I love how many times in this scene, he clearly is like asking for permission, right? Like, he kisses her. And but then she's the one who like attacks his face and like is basically like eating his mouth off, right? She's the one who sits on top of him. She's the one who pins him down. And then like hands start moving places, a lot of growling, which we all love. And, he clearly is about to kind of start exploring with his hands below her underwear.
Exploring each other's bodies.
And she makes a noise and he like pulls back. Right?
Yeah.
And then bites him to be like, I want it.
Hop to.
Right? and then he's like, he's getting a bit more into it, but then he kind of pulls his hand away and she's like, don't stop. And then he's the one who is like, I don't know if I'll be able to stop if we keep going. And then she literally gets naked, opens up her legs and like offers herself to him.
Yeah.
And then that's when he really fucking goes to town. So like that is the thing that I like really love about Tamlin in this portion is that
Yeah.
there are these like 3 to 4 different moments of him constantly checking for
Yeah.
consent, which is something that a lot of people talk about in sexual assault cases and different things of like
Yep.
this constant checking in with the partner and how important that is. And Tamlin does that. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important, especially when we know we have like Cal and Mai in the past. And it's just
Yeah.
having some of these moments, like it's moments like these that I think are the reason as to why Ariel and I are very like, we don't believe that deep down Tamlin is a bad guy.
No. No.
Like
He's just a fuck boy.
he's just a fuckboy. Yeah.
I gave the Lassie analogy in the spoiler-free episode, so for listeners who didn't listen, I think the one part of Lassie we all know is, like, that scene where Lassie's owner I don't even know why Lassie has to be run off free,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, Lassie won't leave her boy, right? And so, like, the boy is, like, knows, like, I gotta get rid of her somehow, so he starts saying, like, "You stupid dog, like, go away," right? Like, to get Lassie to leave, like, not saying Tamlin should have been like, "Feyre, you stupid dog," like, but he could have done something. He knows, and she knows too. She has to leave tomorrow. In his mind, she's gone forever. She ain't coming back,
Yeah.
right? So I think it is irresponsible if he really loved her, right? And I do think he loves her, but like loved her in a fully healthy way. He should have said no. He should have said no to having sex with her
Huh.
because he knows, especially if he thinks there's a chance of her saying I love you back, right?
Yeah.
That is just so irresponsible for him to, like, he indulged in what he wanted, and yes, he did it consensually. He told her, like, I might not be able to stop, blah blah blah, but that tells me he knows this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
They're gonna get even more attached to one another if they do this, and then she has to leave. I mean, like, talk about, like, he glamored her family,
Yeah.
right, so that they wouldn't come back over the wall. Like,
Yeah.
at the very least, I mean, I'm not saying he should do this because this raises other consent questions, but like, could have glamored her to
Yeah.
like want to stay home or something. Like,
Yeah.
he just like, I want to say yay for him following the rules of consent, right? But also, like, he still acted selfishly, no matter how much she invited him in.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't agree with you on that. And I think
That's fair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think just because like I mean, I would argue that like Feyre is being a little selfish in this moment too.
No, that's totally fair.
Because like, he's already kind of it's obvious he does not want to make her leave.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's gonna make her leave. And he's even kind of being like, I don't like if we keep going, like I'm not gonna be able to stop. Like but Feyre, like I just feel like these are two people who were very much just like, I want to feel these feelings. I want to, and it's a lot like what we said in the spoiler-free portion of like this is an act of desperation. These are two people who realized that the time that they have together has come to an end, and they want to get like they're going to get all the stuff that they want to get out here. Yes, it is different because Tamlin has all the information. Yes. So that is what makes it a little bit more, but like it's hard because I feel like we keep jumping. I think you and I both, we keep jumping back and forth on this thing of like, if he does love her, like really the right way to have done this would have been, I want to send you home because I love you. Yeah, exactly. And then Feyre says I love you back, and then they bone.
Yes.
Right? Like that's
and curse broken.
Yeah, exactly. Done. But like that really is the true way, I think, to have done this. Because what was interesting when you were talking was this kind of like this sort of back and forth that you were kind of doing of like, we're annoyed that he didn't say I love you sooner. Yeah. But then you're also a little annoyed that he had sex with her. And it's sort of this like, it's this kind of like back and forth, which I completely understand. I'm with you. Like I understand.
I think what it comes down to is there was a very simple solution to all of this, right? Which is Tamlin being more transparent, and I don't mean in the sense of like, because we know, again, there's rules to this curse. He can't say everything.
Yeah.
But what he could have done is, like you said, he could have said, look, I love you so much that I have to send you home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then, like you said, she probably would have said, I love you too. Curse broken. Or, because here's the other thing we're also not thinking of. In theory, well, maybe not. I was going to say in the human lands, but then Amaranth might have just come into the human lands. But let's just pretend for a second. Let's forget that for a second. Could he not have taken her to her family's manor?
Yeah.
Right? Because remember, they're rich now.
Yeah.
With the money he paid for,
Yeah.
right? Could have taken her, been like, hey girl, I love you. They bone there, right? And then like figures that like it's just more of the
Ooh. It's the classic Tamlin lack of foresight. It's the classic
nailed it.
There we go.
Nailed it. And one thing I will say is I agree. I actually really agree that Feyre is also being selfish too.
Yeah.
Knowing like they are both being selfish in this moment.
Yes.
But again, like you said, he's being more selfish because he does know.
Yep.
And just like it proves this man, this male, does not know the woman he has fallen in love with.
Yeah.
Because why did he not think, hey, if we fuck and solidify this relationship, right? She is probably, if I think her dad is gonna, if I glamored her father,
Good point.
because I think he's gonna come and try and rescue her, why don't I think she's gonna try and do the same to me and put her into even more danger because that bitch is gonna come under the mountain.
Good fucking point, Ariel.
Like,
good point. Totally.
Just,
he does not understand her.
No.
Like at all, which is so hard because Feyre has this moment. And wow, did you set me up perfectly for this? I was literally just thinking how there is this like one quote that I like really do want to say in this portion, and just well done, my love. Bravo. There's this moment, right, when she does the taking of the nightgown off and she like kind of like offers herself to him. Right. And it says like the full force of that wild, unrelenting High Lord's power focused solely on me. You know, I felt the storm contained beneath his skin, so capable of sweeping away everything I was. But I could trust him, trust myself to weather that mighty power. I could throw all that I was at him and he wouldn't balk. Yeah. So what's really frustrating is she thinks he understands her. And there is a level of understanding that they have of each other.
Absolutely.
Of like you were sort of forced into a scenario and you put it on your shoulders and you did the damn thing. But I think what's different is Tamlin thinks that then for her to be happy is for her to not have to worry about anything ever at all, just to be taken care of. And that's not really what she wants. She just doesn't want to have to be surviving, like focused on survival all the time.
Yes.
You know, like
precisely.
She still wants a sense of purpose. She doesn't want every responsibility taken from her. And I think that's what Tamlin thinks she wants. Maybe because that's what Tamlin wants. Maybe that's really what this is. It's I know. I just we're live tweeting this brain moment because like literally that just popped into my head of like maybe that.
Yeah.
Maybe
he never wanted to be High Lord.
Right. He never wanted to be High Lord. All he really wanted to do was just maybe be like a rich fucking bitch somewhere and just hang out.
Be a fucking minstrel. He wanted to be a minstrel.
Yeah. Like, so like maybe that's why he almost ends up treating Feyre the way he does, because that's how he wants to be treated.
It's all projection, Corryn.
It's all projection.
Oh my God. Podcast over. We solved the mystery. Like, no, it's wow. I'm having, that meme where it's like a diagram of like a person like, and you see the inside of their brain and it starts glowing, and like the last one is like its brain basically exploding. That's me right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he completely projected onto Feyre what he actually wanted in life. Why has this not been talked
How
about
have
before? At
we
least
never talked about this before?
no. I mean, and maybe it has been talked about in
I'm
places I just haven't
sure.
seen yet.
I'm
But
sure
like,
it's out in the ether somewhere. There's no way that it's not. There's a lot of really intelligent people who read these books.
there are. But more so, how is it not a popular theory? That's what I think it is. It's like that. I think that just explains his entire psychology. We've been stunned into silence.
Yeah, well, because I'm like kind of running through like ACOMAF in my mind.
Yeah. I can't think of a single place where it got talked about in the books, let alone
Oh no, I'm
elsewhere.
not saying that it's talked about
Yeah.
in the books. I'm just trying to think of like how, yeah, I think it's like he doesn't want any responsibility.
Yeah.
And so therefore he thinks that what Feyre wants too. And so he just
Yeah.
takes all responsibility away from her, which
Well, if
then
you think
means
about
that
it,
she has to like live a particular way.
right. And I think it's that, and I think the other part to it is like he is so bitter for having to take on all the responsibility he has because no one else is able to.
Totally.
And I think okay, ooh, this is actually kind of sad. I think he just has kind of wanted someone to be miserable with him.
Yeah.
Which, like,
Misery
I
loves
get.
company.
Misery loves company. Yeah, it's but then it goes back to this question of like love, right?
Yeah.
Like I am just such a big believer in like if you really actually truly love someone, you want the best for them. And I don't think he's conscious of this, mind you.
No.
But like there's got to be a degree to him of like somewhat that he knows it a little bit, right? Like he's a little aware of what he's doing.
Well, I don't think like, okay, I think it's that kind of classic thing because there's a few times in ACOMAF, right, when they have certain discussions or arguments that he
Yeah.
kind of like comes back later and sort of like apologizes for like an element of their discussion.
Yeah.
But like kind of it's like it's not very satisfying like what
No.
his apologies end up being. And I think that is what is the tragedy of Tamlin, of that I don't
Yeah.
actually think he clocks the level of what he has done to Feyre until later. Like, I think that's a big reason why, like, in ACOTAR, most of the time, I think when he shows up to help save Elaine from the camp,
Yeah.
I imagine that, like, the month before that or something is when shit finally starts truly hitting Tamlin of stuff that went down.
Yes. Yep.
And so I actually think it's a big reason as to why I think he actually starts feeling a lot of this beforehand. I think that's why he starts making even dumber moves, you know, stuff with Hybern and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like how he behaves at the High Lord meeting. That to me feels like a tantrum of a child who is learning that they've been doing the wrong thing, but they're not ready to admit it yet.
No.
And so I feel like a lot of ACOTAR when we're not with him is him slowly realizing what he has done to Feyre. And I also think that's a big reason why he stays in beast form for a long time, because he doesn't want to admit a lot of these things. Like, God, I've never wanted a Tamlin story more than this moment right now.
Oh, I'll do you one better. If we get a Tamlin redemption book,
Yeah.
I actually would love for it to start off like kind of do a tandem thing.
Yeah.
Where it starts off like an ACOTAR, right? When
Yeah.
he maybe starts beginning to realize this stuff and then continue on through
Yeah.
the rest of the books and like onward. Cause like it would be so fascinating. Cause like I think what he's doing and like this is like I've had people in my life do this, right? Where like they realize they did something wrong, right? And so they try to fix it, but in the most either roundabout way or in a way that like
Oh my God.
it hurts them so much to know what they did, that they do something else to make up for it that doesn't act they're not actually how do I put it, like, they're not fixing the thing or apologizing for the thing that needs to be fixed or apologized for. They're doing something
Yeah.
else that they think will make up for it because they're kind of too cowardly
Yeah.
to address, like, I mean, it reminds me actually of, like, not that this happens with Feyre, but it reminds me of, like, looking into the Ouroboros in
Yeah.
ACOTAR, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh god, could you imagine if Tamlin looked into the
Well,
Ouroboros?
he
Like,
definitely would have gone crazy. He would not have been one of the ones to survive
abso-fucking-lutely.
that at all. Yeah.
Hey, who knows? Maybe that'll be part of if he gets a redemption. I mean, that Sarah J. Maas, if you're
Yeah,
listening to
seriously.
this, please. But I mean, just going back to what you said about, like, I think you're totally right of, like, he is just projecting.
Yeah.
It's sad because, and I think this is like the two truths at
Yeah.
the same time
Yeah.
situation of, like, we can condemn him.
Yeah.
And we should condemn him
Yeah.
for trying to get this woman he supposedly loves to do things that aren't actually aligned with the person she is, right?
Well, not and not like not seeing it,
Yeah.
and not even
Doubling down
trying
on it.
to. Exactly. Like when she tries to, and it starts in this chapter. It starts. She's
Yep.
like, no, I can help. No, I can blah blah. Like she's saying all these things.
We see it even, like, it reminded me of in ACOMAF, like, she gets, like, no fucking say in her own wedding.
Yeah.
Like, him and Ianthe make all the choices, including her dress.
Dress.
Like, I mean, the whole, like, her saying no roses, no roses, no roses, because it reminds her of the blood that she
Yep.
spilled. And then there's fucking roses.
Oh,
Like, it is just like,
infuriating.
how tone deaf
Yeah.
and, like, so in your own fucking narcissistic world do you have to be
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
right? And for someone to project that much, and, like, in a way that I definitely think he had good intentions.
Yeah.
That were just severely misguided.
Yeah.
There is tragedy to that.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yes.
like, you have to be a very tragic soul to go that far.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I
Whew.
that's why it's like, yeah, it's the tragedy of Tamlin. It's the tragedy that is Tamlin.
A Court of Tragedy in Tamlin.
Yeah, seriously. Like
That'll be the book.
it's so, yeah, it's just so hard. I have these feelings when I think about our pod and like how we're speaking about different characters and all this stuff. And, I definitely had this sort of fear of like,
Yeah.
if we're too nice to Tamlin, then are we like gaslighting people who have, been in these scenarios? I mean, I know you've had a particular experience in your past, and
Yeah.
so it's like, is there a level of gaslighting that we're doing there? And then I kind of think about it more, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like we are. Like there's
yeah.
just like an interesting danger that's kind of surrounds Tamlin, and
Oh, yeah.
but I also think that kind of starts bringing in this overall conversation about just like humanity and just like the
That's the
world
thing.
and how we treat each other. And like I think it actually shows that, I truly don't believe that anyone starts off their life like inherently evil. I
No.
think that you build a life of evil that becomes your day to day. And so like when
Absolutely.
Ariel and I say that like we don't believe that deep down Tamlin is a bad guy, we can confidently say that because of the actions he ends up doing at the end of the series.
Yes.
I think that if Tamlin continued down the road with Hybern, continued down that path, then I would be like, okay, you turned into a bad guy. You didn't start that way, but you eventually turned into a bad guy.
Yes.
And again, him doing better stuff at the end of the book does not excuse any of those choices or any of the actions that he did. But I think it shows that he is clearly battling. There is a battle within himself that is happening throughout this entire series of the good and the bad. And what's very difficult is so much of the bad that comes out of him starts from this place of protection
Yeah.
and love. But
Yes.
he doesn't ever pull out of realizing that in that situation he's actually only thinking about himself.
Yeah. It's, I'm really glad you brought this up because, like, okay, this is gonna be like possibly a weird analogy, but just stick with me here.
Always.
I'm a true crime girly.
Right.
Okay. Like, I've been a huge true crime person for like most of my life, but specifically like listening to true crime podcasts regularly for the past like decade. And one thing I've learned through it is when you talk about these serial killers, right? Because like a lot of the times these documentaries and podcasts go into like the full life of the serial killer, like from
Mhm.
childhood through when they killed. So I've heard like the backstories of some of the most horrific, like Ed Kemper, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, Ted Bundy, like
Yeah.
etc. And one common thing that has gotten talked about, and I think is done really well on some of these podcasts, is they found a good balance of having empathy for the young version of the serial killer
There it
before
is.
they became evil,
Mhm.
and going like, for instance, I think like it was like Richard Ramirez was like severely abused as a child, like
Oh.
severely abused, and understanding that is tragic and that is probably what turned him into a serial killer.
Yeah.
And we need to hold both truths at the same time, not only to like for ourselves to understand and maybe like, I don't want to say take comfort in it, but like it doesn't make me hate them less, I think is what I'm saying. It
Yes.
makes me go, this is how we got from A to B, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like solving a puzzle,
Exactly. It's
right?
like a flow chart. Yeah.
Exactly. To me, that actually gives me more comfort because it's like not knowing that makes me go, how the fuck did we get here?
Yes.
Right?
Totally.
That's even scarier.
Totally.
And I think it helps us solve some of the world's problems. And I'm not talking about just with serial killers, but with interpersonal things, with global issues of going, how can something so evil happen? We need to understand it, right? Like, for why our country is in such a bad state, if we can understand like
How we got there.
how we got there, we can maybe solve the problem. And this is how I feel with Tamlin, right? Like, if we can understand Tamlin projects onto Feyre because he was put into a position that he never asked for, and he in his fucked up little
Yeah.
mind, he thinks he's actually doing her a favor.
Yeah.
We could maybe, I mean, this is obviously a fictional world
Right,
and it's
right,
not up
right,
to us,
right.
it's up to Sarah J. Maas, but we could maybe figure out how to, at the very least, to prevent more Tamlins from happening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's kind of where we're coming from
Yeah.
in terms of like figuring out why Tamlin is the way he is. It's not to validate or to give excuses.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for what he does, especially
Yeah.
once we get to the Hybern shit. Like, there is no fucking
Bro.
excuse whatsoever. Like, he does severe damage to not just the Archerons, but all of Prythian.
Well, and that honestly is actually when Tamlin completely lost me. Cause like I
Yeah.
even after like I'll be honest, even after the
Yeah.
blow up he has an ACOMAF, which
Yeah.
is not excusable,
No.
you know, he never hits her.
Yeah.
Right? He never like forces himself on her. Like there is a level of abuse that we don't get to that is
He
not
didn't cross the line yet.
there's not a right, and like the way that he hurts her is by blowing up around her, and if she hadn't protected herself she would have been injured by something. So
Yes.
that is right, but there is a particular line that Tamlin never actually crosses, and I think
Yeah.
I think Sarah does that very purposefully. Because I
Absolutely.
do think we are supposed to kind of have this weird feeling about Tamlin. And I remember
Yeah.
the first time I read it, like, I did not think she should be with him anymore. I was like, no, we're done. And
No.
honestly, by that point in the book, you're like, Rhys is looking pretty good over here, you know?
Yeah.
But I was kind of hopeful for this, like, maybe like a friendship, or like even
Yes.
in that moment, I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe like, well, he gets with one of the sisters. Like, that could be kind of funny. You know, like, I don't know. I was kind
Right.
of in this place of like, maybe Tamlin could be further down the road, but like I still had this like first read of like kind of still had this like little baby love for Tamlin. And then when the king and the Hybern shit happened, I was just like, nope, gone, lost me entirely. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Nope, gone.
Yeah. But even still, like he does realize what he did was fucked up.
Yeah.
And I think there is I think that there's very few things that one individual could do that you can't, like, there's absolutely no
Turning back from.
redemption possible. Yes. And I say that with hesitancy because,
Yeah.
like, you know, there are some people in my life where I'm like, at least for me, I'm like, you crossed a line that,
Well,
like, you can't uncross.
I feel like what you mean by that statement
Yeah.
is that it all depends on how the person comes back after it.
Yes.
It all depends on how they react to realizing, well, first of all, admitting that they did wrong.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Huge
right?
step. Yeah.
And then how they then behave after that.
Yep.
Right? Because we all can have these evil, dark moments.
Yeah.
And it is so and like who you truly are is reflected in how you come out of that.
I would argue, and actually I think Mama Maas even argues this with the Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Is who you are is the most reflected in your darkest moments.
Mm.
And how you respond to them.
Yes. How you are faced with that darkness, and then what do you do after it? And I feel like that's a lot of what you're saying when you say that statement of like, I would say maybe a handful of things that you can do that you could never come back from. I think any of the people that you and I have cut off from our lives,
yes,
is they did a particular thing that I think some of those people could have come back from.
Yeah.
But it was the response and it was the way that they continued to live their life and continue to do a certain thing that made it to where, nope, gone.
Yeah. And in regards to Tamlin, we have already started to see him take the baby steps towards that. And I think one of the bigger baby steps is him saving Rhys's life.
Exactly. Yeah.
If this were Tamlin from Thorns and Roses or ACOMAF, like, I don't think he would have.
I don't think he would have either.
He does it for Feyre.
I know.
He tells her, be happy. Like,
the tragedy of Tamlin. Like,
yeah.
I mean, God, the more we talk about it, the more I feel like Mama Maas has already prepped us for a redemption arc. Like,
I'm a redemption arc truther. Tamlin redemption arc truther here.
Who knew? I
mean, look
at us.
Episode, right? Like, we were raging for most of it, and now we're back of like, he still could redeem himself.
Well, but it's just, I feel like if we ever get fans, they're gonna make shirts that say 2 truths, because it's just like, it's such a true like, Tamlin is like
teller.
Such an epitome. Nice.
Sorry,
good one.
The pun was right there.
Good one. But like, Tamlin is such an epitome of 2 truths. Like, it's really impossible to like look at him and not have that just constantly slapping you in the face. I still stand by everything that we have said about him throughout this episode.
Absolutely.
It all still rings true, but it's just like, goddamn. One thing I did want to ask is, do we like this sex scene? Are we into it? Is it meh? Like,
look,
what are we, take out
everything we just talked about.
Take out, like, if you can, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
look,
what do we feel about it?
Okay. I'm going to tell you how I felt about it as a first-time reader, and then I'm going to tell you how I feel about it now.
Please.
As a first-time reader, and for those who didn't listen to the spoiler-free half, I mentioned this. The only spicy books I'd ever read before Thorns and Roses was Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, and if you've read Bridgerton, I'm not talking about the show. The show gets raunchier than the books.
Yeah.
The books tame compared to the romantasy genre. Okay? So, This to me was like a great level of spice. I was like, hell yeah, you know?
Yeah. It's such a good intro. It's such a good ease
Great
in to
intro.
romance. Yeah.
She really lubes you up. She does not go in dry. Yeah, does not raw dog it.
We're not raw dogging it here.
No, no, no. Me now,
Yeah.
having read Fourth Wing
Yep.
and Phantasma
Yep.
and Quicksilver and Crowns of Nyaxia, I'm like,
It's cute.
this is like, it's a quickie. It's a quickie.
quickie.
It's a
Quickie.
we don't have time for the full production. Like, we got to get to dinner in half an hour. Like, let's just get one in and we're good. It satisfies. Like,
Yeah.
am I craving chapter 55 in
Dear
ACOMAF?
God. No,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
even fucking like Hewn City, like it's
You know how I love that Hume
I
City
know you
scene.
love that scene. I don't think this is weird, but like Ariel was like lightweight texting me as she was like reading that scene the first time around, and she's like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And like I was getting this sort of like live tweet vibe from her a little bit, and then she kind of like disappeared, and then I get this like, well, that was a fun scene. And it was so fun because I could tell like Ariel was texting me kind of during like the beginnings of it. And then I could tell that she had like gotten into it when all of a sudden I didn't hear from her anymore. And I was like,
Had some private time.
yes, she's in the throes. Yes. We do not text our best friends when we are in the middle of the throes of the experience.
No.
Yeah. And it was quite funny because is that before the inn when they share the bed? Okay.
It's Hume City, then inn,
And
then
then
chapter 55.
yeah. So I mean, like I'm even craving the inn.
Oh, that inn.
It's so funny from a reread perspective because you're just like, wow, she really showed us from the beginning how important Tamlin was going to be, didn't she?
Oh,
like this
yeah.
sex scene is not. And when I even think about the other sex scenes, it's just like they're never wildly descriptive. They're always kind of like short.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing, a blip you hear, then you kind of move on. Like it just kind of shows what the style of like sex is between them.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a perfect version of the difference between having sex with someone you love and someone who is the love of your life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Of like, there is a stark difference. And the only way you know is if you've experienced
Exactly.
it.
Totally.
And it really, like, how quick the scene is, how lacking in detail compared to any sex scene or even like sexual scene. I mean, I feel like the Hume City scene is way more descriptive.
Oh, it's like 3 pages. Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's like you were able to like text me during the beginning and it be like enough to text about, and then more things happening and you kind of like,
disappeared.
just reading. I mean, like, we all get really caught up in those scenes and like you're not going to be sitting on your phone telling your friend. You're going to be like, "Oh my God, more,"
I'm going to be imagining myself as Feyre.
Exactly.
Sitting on Rhys's lap.
Exactly. So like, no, that's like a 3 or 4 page scene. And like, this is a fucking paragraph.
Yeah. And again, like I said in the spoiler-free episode, there's a absolute, like,
there's a reason.
There is a purpose. Like, Sarah is so intentional with the languaging of the sex scenes, and we see this specifically. I think we see it most explicitly in Silver Flames with how Nesta describes having sex with Cassian is before she realizes she's in love with him. There's a lot of like really crass, dirty language, which is nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it's like she talks about mouth fucking and like putting into terms we never hear from Feyre. But then when they realize they're in love with each other and they're mates, the language changes to a more Feyre Rhys like sex scene where it's like they're making love. They're not just fucking, they're making love. And it's described in more romantic terms. And mind you, there is a time and place for both. Do not get me wrong.
Oh my God.
And
absolutely.
in real life too.
Yes.
In real scenarios where it's like you are with
your
the
person
you love, there is making love, sweet, sweet love, and there is fucking, and both are grand.
Totally wonderful. Not hating on either.
No.
But yes, I love this point. And I feel like you brought this up to me off pod like a couple weeks ago. And it really kind of like really struck a chord because you're totally right. Like people talk about how it feels so like sudden, the crassness of Silver Flames. But then, and this is like Ariel kind of pointed all of this out to me of like, well, yeah, it's Nesta. We're in Nesta's head. So, and we're already kind of, the book starts off with us like, we're hearing about threesomes, we're hearing about one night stands, we're hearing about like baby girl is like, she's fucking and she views it as a personal escape and personal release. And
it's transactional.
It's transactional. And she wants it kind of fast and hard and dirty. She doesn't want like this love
Emotions
making.
attached.
That's not what she wants at all. And that's why even like, you know, it actually takes a while for Cassian and Nesta to actually have penetration sex. They do other actions to each other like early. And this is, you're totally right, because what I love is it's purposeful. It's not Sarah just being like, I just want to have like a really crazy dirty book, you know. Well, maybe she had a moment. She's like, I want a really dirty book. How can I make that happen? Ooh, Nesta,
right.
You know. But like, it is like, it is purposeful within the plot and within the character and within the language. And I think that, my friends, is why these books are more than just fairy smut.
More than just smut. We say as we get to the smut.
I know, but it's like I'm just so glad that you brought up like that, because there's a purpose. And the language is purposeful, and the length and the experience with these different people, it is purposeful to the characters' like development.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys.
Wow.
We got to it finally. We got to the smut.
Woo.
And just like Tamlin, we're going to low-key hit it and quit it. I had to.
God, you are just... She's seeing all the silver platters, folks. And
they're right there for me.
She's just plucking them up. She's just...
It's like a buffet.
Picking them up. Just...
And what I mean by that is next week we're taking a hiatus. We're not actually quitting the podcast. Don't worry. Just a 1 week little break.
Yeah.
But when we do come back, we are going to be reading chapters 28 and 29 when baby girl's gone home and discovers a whole new world.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we'd love it if you rated, reviewed, and subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You know where to find us. Help us get out there. We're still a little baby, independent, growing podcast. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Cauldron Save Us Pod. And if you miss us in our 1 week hiatus, and you can email us at cauldronsaveus@gmail.com.
Wowie.
We got through it.
Well, enjoy the week break.
Yeah. As we always say.
As always, you're welcome.
And we're sorry. Bye.
Bye.